Welcome to this deep dive. Like always, our mission is to get right into some fascinating source material, pull out the really vital insights, and give you that shortcut to being properly informed. Today, we are heading into some dark territory, one of Germany's most, well, chilling and baffling unsolved cases, the Hinterkaifeck murders. The sources we've got, they really paint a picture. It's this blend of historical accounts and narrative descriptions that just bring this mystery to life, maybe a bit too vividly. Okay, let's unpack this. Right away, you need to imagine the setting.
Oh.
A farmhouse, Hinterkaifeck. It's profoundly isolated, deep in the Bavarian woods. I mean, the nearest neighbor was almost a mile off, just completely cut off. And that name, Hinterkaifeck, it basically became shorthand for death, for secrets, in this just heavy, heavy silence. 6 people lived on that farm, and then one day, all 6 are found murdered. But it wasn't like a frenzy, not chaotic violence. It seems it was slow, calculated, a kind of horror that unfolded deliberately. And what's so unsettling, even now, a century later, is how it just completely stumps investigators.
It really does. And that's exactly why this case keeps drawing people in. It just defies the usual way we look at crime. What's fascinating here is, well, everything almost. There was no clear weapon found, not ever. There's no definitive motive that clicks into place, nothing that really explains why. And the circumstances themselves around the crime, they're just incredibly unique and deeply, deeply unsettling. It's more than just a murder case. It feels like a puzzle, deliberately missing too many pieces, like it was designed to stay unsolved. A real challenge to modern criminal profiling looking back.
It absolutely is. And the really eerie part, maybe the part that gets under your skin the most, is the lead up. What our sources call a house with warnings. In the days, maybe weeks, right before the murders, the family started experiencing these strange things, increasingly strange. Their dog, for instance, barking constantly at, well, nothing they could see, just barking into the shadows like it sensed something was wrong.
Animals often do seem to pick up on things.
Exactly. Then there were footsteps, heard in the attic, but every time they checked, absolutely no one there. Empty.
Creepy. Just phantom noises.
And then an unsolicited newspaper turns up. One they didn't subscribe to just appears on the doorstep. Odd, right?
Very odd. Out of place.
And maybe the most unsettling thing, their house keys. They just vanished. Disappeared completely.
Gone. Okay, that's more than just odd. That feels deliberate.
It does, doesn't it? When you look at these kinds of anecdotal premonitions in other cases, how seriously do investigators typically take them?
Well, traditionally, not very, especially not on a formal investigation or court. They often get brushed off, as superstition, coincidence, just nerves. But Hinterkaifeck, it feels different. It's the sheer number, the volume of these strange events, and how they seem to escalate. It wasn't just one weird thing happening. It was this string of incidents that, looking back, feel like giant warning signs flashing. It almost forces you to consider things you can't easily explain.
That's exactly what hit me reading through the material. Here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, terrifying.
Yeah.
Andreas Gruber, the head of the family, he told neighbors something chilling. He'd seen footprints in the snow.
Okay.
Footprints leading to the house. But, and this is the crucial part, none leading away.
So someone arrived.
Someone walked onto their isolated property.
Now, seemingly didn't leave, or at least not the way they came.
Exactly. Think about that. Someone came onto their farm, probably stayed hidden, maybe in the house itself or the barn, and then committed these acts without leaving an obvious trace of their exit in the snow.
That's deeply disturbing, the premeditation involved.
They all should have left then and there.
Yeah.
Packed up and gone. But something or someone apparently wanted them to stay, kept them there. So you have this buildup, these eerie warnings, these strange events, right up to March 31st, 1922. That day is the last time anyone definitively saw the Gruber family alive. After that, just silence.
Complete silence, like they just dropped off the map.
Yeah. The family vanished into this profound quiet. Mail started piling up at the post office. Nobody answered knocks on the door.
People must have started wondering.
They did. And apparently lights were seen flickering inside the house at odd hours, which just added to the unease. Then, 4 days later, April 4th, neighbors finally decide they have to go in. They enter the property. And what they found wasn't chaos, not like a ransacked house. It was this bizarre sense of order, almost normal.
Everything in its place.
Pretty much. Except, of course, for the bodies. 4 of them, Andreas, his wife Cäzilia, their daughter Viktoria, and her daughter, also Cäzilia, they were in the barn. It seems they were lured there, one by one, and murdered.
Horrifying. One by one implies control, calculation.
Exactly. Then the 5th victim, the new maid, Maria Baumgartner. is her very first day on the job. She was killed in her bed in the main house.
Her first day. Unbelievable timing. Tragic.
And the sixth victim, baby Josef, Victoria's son. He was found in his crib in his mother's bedroom, tragically suffocated.
God, the whole family wiped out. But the detail that really elevates this, that just chills you to the absolute bone, it's the evidence. Strong evidence suggesting the killer, or killers, stayed in the house for days after the murder.
Right. That part is just mind-bending.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, psychologically speaking, it suggests something almost unimaginable, an extreme level of depravity, or maybe some kind of bizarre calculation we can't fathom.
What was the evidence for that?
Well, the neighbors who found them noted several things. The farm animals, the cows and such, they'd clearly been fed recently.
Okay, so someone tended to them.
Exactly. Food was missing from the pantry, meals had seemingly been eaten, and maybe most telling, smoke was seen rising from the chimney in the days between the family disappearing and the bodies being found.
Someone was living there.
Mm-hmm.
With the dead. For days.
Yes. Someone made themselves at home in that house of death. Does the psychology of someone who does that, who lingers at the scene, does that point to anything specific, or is it just pure speculation in a case this old, this weird?
It's almost impossible to comprehend, isn't it? The sheer audacity or coldness.
It really is.
And the aftermath, well, it was just as baffling. The police, they questioned basically everyone around. Farmers, soldiers passing through, vagrants, anyone who might have been in the area.
A wide net.
A very wide net.
Yeah.
But no weapon was ever definitively identified or found, and no motive ever surfaced that really made sense of it all.
And you have to remember the time period, too, 1922.
Absolutely critical point. Forensic science, as we think of it now, it was, well, barely starting. It was in its infancy.
Right. No DNA testing back then. Fingerprinting was still quite basic, often hit or miss.
And crime scene preservation. It wasn't the priority it is today. Often evidence was disturbed, contaminated, without people even realizing.
So that lack of clarity in the investigation, how much is down to just the limitations of the era itself? A huge amount, surely.
It has to be a massive factor. This case isn't just baffling because of what the killer did. It's also this stark example of how the absence of, basic forensic techniques can doom a case from the start.
They were relying so much on just witness accounts, observation, gut feelings maybe. Not the hard scientific evidence we expect today.
Which naturally limits your ability to piece together what actually happened.
Yeah.
Dramatically.
And makes the enduring mystery even deeper, in a way.
It does. And of course, when you have no solid answers, theories start swirling. Whispers.
Always happens in cases like this.
Some people suspected Victoria's secret lover was involved. There were rumors about that. Others wondered about a former maid. Apparently, one had quit not long before, claiming the house was haunted, which, given what happened later...
Oh, adds another layer of creepiness, doesn't it? The haunted angle.
But then there's that really unsettling idea that took root. The one that suggests the killer, maybe, never really left the area. Or metaphorically speaking, never left the event.
That Hinterkaifeck itself just sort of swallowed whoever did this and kept them locked in silence with the victims.
Yeah, let them rot in silence.
This raises an important question, though. What is the legacy of a place like Hinterkaifeck? What does it leave behind? The house itself, it didn't stand for long. It was demolished the following year, in 1923.
Wiped off the map, physically?
Physically, yes. The ground beneath, just left untouched. No memorial was ever built there. No grave marker for the place itself. Just empty land, wind, and, whispers?
Whispers that continue.
Apparently so. Even today, people claim to hear things near where the farm once stood, especially at night or in fog. Things like creaks in the trees that sound unnatural, a baby crying faintly, and footsteps. Footsteps with no owner.
Still, after all this time.
That's the claim. It feeds the idea that Hinterkaifeck wasn't just a murder. It was some kind of message, a dark, terrifying statement scrawled across that landscape. And no one, not the police back then, not the locals whispering theories, not even time itself has ever been able to figure out what that message truly means, to decipher it.
So, thinking about you, the listener, what does this all mean? When you encounter a mystery this dark, this impenetrable, that just refuses to be solved despite all the investigation, does it tell us something about the power of a place, how it can hold on to a secret almost physically? Or maybe it highlights the limits of human justice when it comes up against something purely inexplicable, malice without a clear face or reason.
Or maybe it's something deeper still, about the nature of secrets themselves, that perhaps some things, some events are just not meant to be fully known or understood by us.
6 lives, 1 isolated house, No justice found. And a mystery that, it seems, never really wanted to be solved.